Is there such a thing as the perfect homeschool curriculum? And if there is one, is it the job of the homeschooling parent to find it? If these are things that you're interested in talking about with me, stick around. So I personally do think that there are some curriculum that are just better than others. But it might just be that it's better because it suits your homeschooling style or your homeschooling philosophy. Homeschooling curriculum tend to be written with a philosophy behind it. So if you're picking up a family study or unit study, it's written with the intention of a large group of children of various ages doing work together. And the topics tend to be not deep. You're kind of skimming the surface and growing an interest in a particular topic, and you do it over, a 4 to 6 or 12-week period. And then you might have Charlotte Mason approach, the neoclassical style or philosophy of homeschooling. There's Waldorf. There's people who are more eclectic, where they just grab from a variety of styles. So you might find several different styles incorporated into one homeschooling curriculum. But that is what kind of makes one homeschooling curriculum different from another. It's not so much that one is bad versus one is good, or one is very thorough and one is more generalized. It really depends on the homeschooling style and philosophy behind the homeschool curriculum writer. I've been thinking a lot about how a lot of times in some of the Facebook homeschooling groups that I belong to, or just talking to homeschooling moms out in the community about comparing homeschooling curriculums and kind of like, oh, is that a better one? I should try that out. Maybe mine's not that great. And there's a lot of interest in trying to find the perfect, the best homeschooling curriculum for your child. And it made me think that I wonder if there's a focus on trying to find the best as opposed to finding what works for your family. I really do think that most homeschooling curriculum will get the job done one way or another. And I think it can be more harmful to move from curriculum to curriculum, always searching for the right one, when you're not providing consistency for that child to learn within that scope of the curriculum. And sometimes when you do move from one to the other, you might end up finding that you're creating holes or areas, blind spots that you're not noticing because one curriculum might just broach those topics later on, and you will get to it at some point. I do like to try to find, what I consider being the best curriculum. That is something that I try to do. Now, at the forefront of homeschooling, I did all of that research. I looked into which ones seemed to suit my homeschooling philosophy, which is a classical model of homeschooling. And then I looked at the curriculum that I really thought would work with our family. We started off with the well-trained mind, and we really have stuck through with it. And another reason why I thought about this video is because I've been recently researching Charlotte Mason curriculums, and I've considered, now I wouldn't change this year because I've bought everything, and we really have been making good headway into our year so far, and there's really no real reason to have to suddenly make a big change. But I've thought maybe next year, would I consider switching over to a whole new program, different Charlotte Mason programs that are available. And I've considered it, and I personally realized that I won't do that. Now, I will incorporate a lot of Charlotte Mason's philosophies into our homeschool curriculum, but I won't necessarily change over to a whole new program. Now, first of all, Charlotte Mason is a classical approach. It just has a different philosophy behind the classical approach, but I can still apply those ideas using the curriculum I already have. Now, when I think it is a good time to change curriculum, when you really might have to stop in the middle of the year, not waste another second, and change, is if a curriculum isn't working. Now, most importantly, when you want to identify the best curriculum for your child is for the basics: reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, writing, you don't even need a curriculum for, so I wouldn't even say you desperately need to find the right writing curriculum. I have another video where I talk about narration. And I'll link the video below in the description below because it doesn't say narration in the title, I don't think. But that is really an excellent way for any student to learn how to write. But math and reading, it is important that you find a good fit for your child. And I do also think that there are better math curriculums out there. The North American way of teaching math previously, historically, or traditionally, has been a different approach as to what I think they have now discovered here in North America is actually a better way of teaching math. And that is what we often call Singapore math, through primary mathematics or dimensions math. That type of math really teaches an understanding of math rather than just memorizing a procedure. It really gives a better, deeper knowledge of understanding the abstract and logic behind the math, so that giving the child any kind of problem, they will be able to figure it out because they understand the logic beneath it. So I do feel personally, I love Singapore math. Primary mathematics and dimensions really are a great core math curriculum, and a lot of public schools are changing over to Singapore math. They are recognizing that that type of math really is much more will much more successfully teach your students to understand and do well with math in the future. And reading as well is important, that you need to find the right kind of fit. There are tons of styles of teaching writing. I've used many different kinds. We have the Well-Trained Minds, the Ordinary Parent's Guide to Teaching Reading, which we like, but I like to incorporate other types of phonics as well. Now, I know one that everyone really loves is All About Reading. I've been interested in getting that just because, again, I like to try to add new and more curriculum and trying them out. But I've learned to kind of step back and just go with what we have. So we've been utilizing the Good and Beautiful, the Beautifuls reading for my daughter's age, level K right now. And that seems to be working really well for us. She is reading, she's thriving. We're reading the little books that come along with it, the little readers. And so it's working. There's really no reason for us to jump around and try to find something else. As she gets older, we may incorporate some other things, but what we are using is working, and you kind of sometimes just have to push through to keep going and get that practice under their belt. But when it comes to other subjects, is it really important to find the best one, the best science, the best history, the best whatever it might be? And I don't think that, first of all, I think changing around, kind of like I said, it's disruptive, it's difficult for the student to relearn a new way, a new style. And I mean, it might be something you could incorporate something new every year, trying out new things. But when you are consistent with that style, they are going to more successfully learn through that method of teaching. The last kind of thing I really wanted to talk about this was that our job as a homeschooling parent, it's not to find the best curriculum and teach it to our student. It's to teach our student to learn how to learn. It's to teach our student to love learning and learn how to investigate something. If they want to know more about something, learn how to get the resources, how to read it, how to comprehend it, how to pull out what's important, and all of those things. So there's skills, learning skills that we are really teaching them, as opposed to the facts that we're often trying to get them to memorize in the science and the history and all of those things. So aside from the reading and the arithmetic skills, the rest of it really is about teaching them to love, to read, to learn, to discover, to explore. And if you are able to do that with the curriculum that you already have, you don't need to keep hunting around for something better. Sometimes, and it's human nature, things can always look greener on the other side. And when we look at other families and what they're doing, we might think, oh, they're just doing such a better job. That looks more exciting. That looks more fun. I want to try that out. And we can waste a lot of money, spend a lot of time and energy rethinking and thinking and stressing over whether or not we think that we're using the right curriculum, and there might be something out there better. And I have been guilty of doing that. And I've learned to, you know what, I love the well-trained mind. Even though I'm looking at other families who are doing all these Charlotte Mason programs, I'm like, oh, why didn't I start there from the beginning? But what we are doing really works. And instead of changing our curriculum, I have been looking more deeply into Charlotte Mason's philosophy, and I will be applying her philosophies to what we are doing right now. So I am currently reading, A Philosophy of Education by Charlotte Mason. She has 6 books that she has written, and this is actually the 6th and final book that she wrote. After years of putting into her philosophy into practice, she wrote this final book as sort of the final overview of her philosophy of education. It's a great book. It's a good place to start rather than starting at book 1, starting with this book to get a really good picture of her overall philosophy, and then you can go back and read some of her other books if it pertains to an area that you are interested in. But that's what I'm going to do. I might have a later video to share my thoughts, what I've learned through this book, but I'm going to be utilizing this book as sort of a reference guide and applying it to our homeschool to really use a Charlotte Mason philosophy, but continue with the curriculum that we have that is working and we are enjoying. But that's all I have for you. I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.